Well, we all remember these images. It's been 3 years since the fall of Kabul. The Biden administration still facing scrutiny the way it handled the Afghanistan withdrawal. It was botched, and 13 soldiers lost their lives while trying to get Americans out of the country. And pleased to bring in right now the former United States ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador John Bolton. Ambassador, good to see you. Thanks for being with me today.
Glad to be with you.
You know, so much has changed so quickly since that moment, and we saw the Taliban just parading around all the U.S. military equipment yesterday in a sign of, you know, this is what you left behind. And, you know, we're seeing a resurgence of, you know, ISIS. There's concerns about now there's this Jordanian arrested explosive threats and attacks on an energy facility. All of this under Joe Biden on his watch, but also on Kamala Harris's watch. As they try to rewrite a little bit of history as to what we've been talking about, do you think that there ever will be any accountability for what this failure really meant and what it triggered around the world?
Well, I hope there is, because the decision to withdraw from Afghanistan by the U.S. and NATO, I think, was a catastrophic mistake for the United States, endangering our national security. Certainly, the execution of the withdrawal was very, very poor, no doubt about it. You've mentioned the 13 service members who were killed at Abbey Gate, many more put at risk. But right now, I'm worried that the return of foreign terrorist fighters to Afghanistan, which was entirely predictable and was predicted by a lot of people, whether it be ISIS-K or Al-Qaeda, are already showing the capability of conducting terrorist attacks in remote places, but started from Afghanistan, and it's very likely that they're on the way to the United States if they're not already here.
And, you know, Kamala Harris is acting like, according to her ads, that she's been tough at the border. And you said if they're not already here. There was also a report today that the U.S. is going to impose sanctions targeting Houthi and Hezbollah. But we all know this is a little bit of a smokescreen when you put in sanctions. The U.S. Treasury Department, they can always circumvent. They find other ways around all these. And this administration clearly has been enriching Iran for all these years. So at what point, though, you know, they put this out and the press just takes it and runs with it. And it's almost like Americans are getting sick and tired of them getting a free pass.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the best day a sanction usually has is the day that it's announced, because as has become clear over a long history, we just are not enforcing sanctions effectively. And indeed, the Treasury Department often provides roadmaps around the sanctions that American companies can take advantage of, and obviously foreign companies can as well. The Houthis, who wouldn't have two rocks to rub together if they didn't have missiles and drones from Iran, has effectively closed the Suez Canal Red Sea passage to all but a very limited amount of commercial traffic, one of the world's most important commercial sea lanes. And for the United States, for which freedom of the seas was a fundamental national interest before we were independent, to allow this to continue really verges on criminal, because what other terrorist groups, rogue states, learn is that, at least under this administration, we don't have the resolve to open up the channels of commerce again.
No, and clearly there are ceasefire talks happening right now. And there is a wait and see sort of when Iran, what they will do. I'm not so sure if the ceasefire is an impactful thing for them. But as you look at these ceasefire discussions today happening in Qatar, do you think in the next 24, 48 hours there could be something bubbling up in the Middle East, depending on what happens today there?
Well, the administration has gone out of its way to put pressure on Israel not to defend itself adequately, not to respond to Iranian attacks. They're obsessed with the notion of getting a ceasefire. They were when Biden was the candidate. They are when Harris is the candidate, because they think if they can put the Middle East off the front pages, if they can put Ukraine off the front pages, they can pretend like their guidance of American national security has been a success when it clearly has not.
Well, on the front pages in the next few days, we know will be this botched withdrawal of Afghanistan there. Ambassador Bolton, always good to see you. Thanks for being with us today.
Glad to do it. Thank you.